Hey YouTube, Sam here. Well, I got this Harbor Freight helmet here. I've probably had it for between 7 and 10 years, and it's worked great for the less than 40 bucks I paid for it on sale at Harbor Freight. I've been very happy with it. Problem is I'm having right now is for some reason it's working if I tilt my head and all that kind of stuff, but it's otherwise it's not working right. So we're going to check it out. And first thing I'm going to do is just take this off here. Back to it. I know this can pop off of here to pop the... see, I've never done this before. I've never had to change this. I've taken pretty good care of it. I always keep it inside a drawer covered up by... there we go. Covered up by rags and t-shirts and things like that. So I really haven't had too much problem getting it scratched. That's another thing too. With these sensors, after a while they do go bad and they run out of battery. So you don't want to just leave them laying out like this, where even lights, even your normal lights, will actually affect this to where it'll actually start shading, and that'll run your batteries and stuff down. So you always want to kind of put these away if you're not using them. I'm actually going to test that without that on there and see if that changes anything here. Well, that didn't seem to make a real big difference one way or the other. So there is a screw right here, and I'm just going to unscrew that. I don't know if that's what takes this out, but I'm assuming that's kind of holding something in. And it goes to this adjuster right here, so I don't know. Okay, there's lights or wires and things. Okay, this knob pops off the side of this, lets that pop out. But there's wires going in there, so I don't know if you really want this off of here. I know I have one right here. I don't know if you can see any of this, but I'm going to try not to break it. There we go. That worked. So there's this little tab here. I'm going to try and get where you can see. This little tab right here. You just got to pop that out and it falls right out of there. And there's your little doodad thingamajig. I might be able to order one of these. I don't know. I really think that there is a battery in here and it is dying. I also believe that it's not one that is actually meant to be changed. So I don't know if there's any further I can go with it. I'm gonna keep messing with it until I figure it out. This is what I'm gonna say. If you do anything I do and you hurt yourself or your equipment, I'm not responsible. But I found a little screwdriver here. I don't know what screwdriver this is, but somebody spent some money on this one at some point, because it's a little tiny jeweler's type one. And the thing, I have pried and dug and used it for this kind of stuff a lot. But anyway, I'm getting in here in this middle part in between the two, and I'm just doing a little bit at a time here, and it seems to every little bit pop. I started it underneath where that little clip was that was holding the whole thing in. I'm just carefully pulling it apart. I don't know if it'll go back together once I do this, but something in here seems to be holding it up. Yep. There's a little bit of a clip or something in there. Okay. There you are. You got a battery here and a battery here. Now, I don't know, like I said, I don't think these are technically made to be replaced, but I tell you what, those look a lot like the batteries that go in my remote control for my car remote. So I may play with these. I don't know if they'll come out. I think these batteries are shot. So I think about the only way to fix this is for me to try and pry these out of here, or Yeah, that's about the only way I can see. And they are definitely like, they're kind of like spot welded, it looks like, appears to me, to it. So I'm gonna mess with that, see if I can even get this thing to work. This turned into a what's inside of a Harbor Freight welding helmet, because I grabbed these, and before anybody freaks out, I checked, and these are fairly new. I actually bought these when I did my lock remote video for my truck, and this is an older one, but I tried 2 newer ones that I have. Anyhow, and it still did the same thing. And also, like I said, before everybody starts freaking out, although they're not exactly the same size, they are 3 volt, which these are 3 volt. They're a little bigger, but as far as voltage wise, they're exactly the same. So really, you probably could grab as long as they're the same voltage. But if you do have the problem of, it's your batteries, you can pull these out. You got to kind of pry this off, and there's one on the bottom as well, which took me by a little bit of surprise. I figured that maybe that one would just be sitting on there and this one would be welded, but they're both kind of like spot welded basically to these batteries. And I just took the little screwdriver and just kind of went in there and pried it off of there, and then you'd have to go in and probably solder them back on or whatever. I did manage to unfortunately break the little sensor thing off of here, so you got to be more careful than I was if you plan on reusing that. Or it's not a sensor, it adjusts the darkness of it, I guess you would say. But I messed with there's little light sensor things here and here, and I messed with those, tried cleaning them off. I cleaned everything off real good, and nothing worked. It still is doing the same thing no matter what. So I don't know what my problem is, other than it's just old and finally died. But I'll have to go get me another one. Anyhow, so what's inside? You got kind of this cool little lens here, which I'll probably try and figure something neat out with. A little bit of wire and a fairly probably decent board there with lots of little doodads and thingamajigs. You got this, whatever sensor this is, it's some sort of a solar slash, it's sensor type thing. If you're real electronic, I'm sure you could take all this stuff and make something kind of neat out of it, but I'm not. So, and then you got your little switch here, which a little bit of wire. All the rest of it is pretty much just a plastic casing, so that won't do me any good. I think that's about it. There's not a whole lot inside. It's not really worth tearing apart unless you just really want to get at this stuff and mess with it. This is Sam, Jack of all, Master of none. You all have a good one.